In every lesson or every class, I want to review all the things that you know as long as we can do that. At one point though, we'll know too much to actually review everything. Same thing with your practices. There'll come a time where you've got too much to do and you won't be able to run through everything each day. So what you have to do is prioritize. Start putting things aside that are already second nature and you don't need anymore, or just separate them so each practice is a little bit different and you'll pick up different skills each day. One day could be more of your scales, one day more of your chords. Right now we have limited enough repertoire that you should be able to go through everything. I'm going to run through it just about every time in order that I would like to practice it. The only difference would be that when you're actually practicing, you do repetitions. You don't just do it once. First thing I would do in every class until this is totally second nature is show you a picture of your ukulele, low strings to high, and then have you name them. Good children eat apples, G, C, E, and A. Then I'll put the vertical lines and ask you what those are. They're the frets. So you've got your 4 strings and we're drawing usually 3 frets at this end of the ukulele just to get that position 1 down. Then we look at the first notes that we learned. On the A string, we found out we had a B and a C. In your practice then, play those. G, C, E, A, B, C, A, B, C, A, B, C, C, B, A. Practice both directions. I indicate that with just left and right arrows. A, B, C, C, B, A, B, A, B, C, C, A, B, A, C. Mix them up, try to make sure they're memorized by their frets, by their numbers, and by their fingers. At first you might be using your pointer for everything. Try to get to the point where in melody notes, your index finger has the first fret, middle finger second fret, third finger third fret, and maybe even start practicing a pinky. On the E string, we can learn the notes that come alphabetically after E. So E, F, and G. Some of you have noticed that E to F is only a fret apart. B and C are only fret apart. Memorize that. That's actually vital information. No matter where you are on the ukulele or on any instrument, E's and F's are always only a half step apart. B's and C's only a half step apart. Everything else on ukulele would have a fret between them, meaning they're a whole step apart. F to G, for instance, is a whole step, 2 frets. So you learn your E, F, and G. E, F, E, F, G, F, E, F, G, G, F, E, G, E, G, E, F, G, E, F, G, E, F, E, G. Something like that. E, F, G, A, B, C. We've got 2 alphabetical segments. E, F, G, A, B, C. On stringed instruments, we often miss the fact that we're actually playing a continuous alphabet there. In music, you're going A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and start over at A, B, C. So technically, we could have gone A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and so on. Recently, we learned the 3rd string. From C, we go a whole step to D. We only have 2 notes here, because E is right after D, so we go C, D, E, F, G, A, B, and C. Practice that as much as you have to. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. C, B, A, G, F, E, D, C. There's your scale, C major scale. It's a whole step from C to D, and a whole step from D to E, but a half step to F. So when you play this, you've actually learned what major scales are. Memorize that pattern. C to D, whole step, half. Whole step, whole step, whole step, half. Whole step, half. Whole step, whole step, half. Major scales have 2 whole steps and a half step, 3 whole steps and a half step. So that's your C scale. We learned hot cross buns and Mary Had a Little Lamb. Just to save time and space, I didn't write them here again, but in your notebook I would. I'd write them out again or turn to that page and have you do them. Just in note names, I just have the letter E, the letter D, and the letter C. So it's E, D, C. E, D, C. 4 C's, 4 D's, E, D, C. I would have that written out, and you'd be looking at your picture. This is your little map, E, D, C. So once again, to save time, I'm not going to do Mary Had a Little Lamb, but you have that in melody as well from our last lesson. Then I would review all our chords. I've drawn them here already. Very often I'll draw them for you as we're speaking, fill them in, and then quiz you as to what they are. So we'd go through this. What's this one? It's the first chord you learned. Make sure you're naming your chords as you work on them. That's a C chord. The C chord has this C note. That's a handy tool for learning the chord and remembering it, but that's not going to help you with every chord. It's not like we put our finger on the note name and then that's the name of the chord. Again, I'm getting my fingers out of the way so you can see what I'm playing, but that's not how I hold them in real life. My C would look like this. I've got the C placed, but my hand is relaxed close to that note. So third fret is a C, and it's a C chord. First fret makes a C7 if we're strumming. The opens mean we're hitting all these strings. The finger is the black dot. The opens are played even though there's no finger on them. Go to the next chord. You learned it with one finger first and then another. I'd ask you its name. You'd hopefully remember it's an F. Using that pointer as an anchor finger, swung into a G7, which likes to get us back to C's. So there's a sequence you want to practice. C to C7 to F to G7 to C. If there's any one chord that you don't do well, practice the change over and over and over again. Name your chords as you play them as well. From F, we saw we could add a finger on the third string, second fret. F, to add this finger, was a D minor. If we remove the pointer from the F, we have an A minor. So F to A minor. Now you can practice those all together. So here's C to C7 to F. I'll remove the pointer, make an A minor. Put it back on, it's F. Add the ring finger, it's D minor. So I've got F's, A minors, F's, D minors, F's, D minors, A minors, F, D minor, A minor, D minor, A minor, D minor. Again, I'm exaggerating my motion so you can see it. It would really look like this. A minor to D minor to A minor to D minor. The changes are much more subtle. So practice them, name them, put them in every order you can think of. If there's one change you can't do well, practice only that change, back and forth from each chord. So we have C, C7, F, D minor, A minor, and G7. We had a whole bunch of one-chord songs. Frère Jacques, we could play with a C chord, or the whole thing could be an F chord. Coconut is recorded with a C7, so you could play a C7 for the whole chord, for the whole song. Then we learned two-chord songs. He's Got the Whole World in His Hands could be F to C7. Those are the only chords. It could also be a C to a G7 if you're getting good at that. Tom Dooley and This Train as well will have only two chords. We could use F's and C7s or C's and G7s. Right now, let's do F and D minor. This is Scar Tissue by the Red Hot Chili Peppers. All it is F's and D minors, so we'll just get a lot of practice adding that finger. The guitar intro is F and D minor as well. I'm just going to strum the two chords all the way through this song. Here's your F when he sings. To D minor with the extra finger. F, we're chorus, same two chords, F, D minor, verse. So that's everything except the solo will have C chords. Chorus, F, D minor, extra finger is D minor. Stay there for the solo. Another C, back to D minor, back to F. And so on. Have a good one, guys.